A very warm welcome to our post-race press conference after the FIA Formula One Australian Grand Prix. We're currently joined by our race winner George Russell and Kimi Antonelli in P2, and Charles Leclerc will join us shortly. Well, George, many congratulations. A hugely impressive weekend from you and Mercedes. What was the most impressive part for you?
I think definitely our race starts were the most impressive part of the weekend. No, I think qualifying was a real surprise to us. I think the pace we saw today and the fight we had with Ferrari was more like we were expecting and what we had predicted pre-Melbourne and after testing. Qualifying was a real shock, but yeah, Ferrari are definitely there in the mix.
And we saw a great battle with the Ferraris in those opening 15 laps or so. Is it easier to race these cars than it was last year?
There's definitely more opportunity, and you do have to be more strategic. I think on a circuit like this where you have 4 straights and you've got to split, let's say if you've got 100% of battery, you've got to split that between 4 straights. No team is splitting that, 25% per straight. Some teams are doing it more on one straight, some other teams are doing it more on the other, and if you use your overtake mode, your boost button, you will pass the driver in one straight and he will then pass back. So it was dicey for the two of us, but I hope you enjoyed it.
The final one from me, George. This is the first time you've led the World Championship. Just how sweet does it feel?
At the moment, it just feels like another race win, to be honest. I mean, we're race 1 into a very long season. Of course, I want to fight for race wins week in, week out, but we're all here now to fight for a World Championship, and that's what we've been working so hard towards. And if we want to do that, we still need to raise our game, because there were a lot of areas today that we underachieved, mainly around the race start, having the battery in the right place, and we were lucky not to come worse off.
All right, well, very well done to you. Thank you, Kimi. Let's come to you now. Many congratulations as well. It was a frenetic race for you, especially after the start. Were you always confident that you could fight your way back to the front?
Well, I didn't really know, to be fair, but obviously the pace of the car was very strong, and pace was strong too. I felt very good in the first stint. Then on hards, I started to grain very early on and had a bit of a difficult time. But then at the end the pace came back, but of course the start was a game changer. Obviously was very stressful because I didn't have power out of the last corner, so the car was not responding to any inputs, and was very stressful. And then the start was poor, very poor, and just lost a lot of places and found myself having to chase. But the car was very strong, was good fun at the end, and the team did an incredible job, because I think the result of today was thanks to, as well, mainly to the mechanics for the incredible job they did yesterday after FP3. So, definitely was a good end of the weekend, and now we will focus on to China.
All right, very well done to you. Thank you. And Charles, let's come to you now. The Mercedes guys have talked about their difficult starts. Was yours the near perfect getaway?
Not at all. Not at all. I mean, it looked from outside, but I think we all had the same problem for some reason, so this is something we've got to review, because also my battery was very, very low for some reason. Probably a bit higher than them, but which helped me to get in the front, but very suboptimal anyway. I thought I would end up P8, P9, but then I started and I saw everybody had issues, and I had the one with the least issues, which at the end is what counts. But there's a lot of margin to improve those starts. It was very suboptimal, I think, for everybody. We kind of expected a messy start, and then I think on top of that as well, we are such on a fine line before getting everything right on the PUIs, and the lights off were very, very, very quick. So I think it surprised on top of that everybody, and and made it even more critical. So it was kind of crazy.
And were you very pleased with your pace relative to the Mercedes today?
Very pleased is maybe a big word, but I am positively surprised for sure after qualifying yesterday. I think yesterday for sure we were not in our optimum window, but we are still very, very far off the Mercedes in qualifying. In the race, though, we seem to be closer. Doesn't mean we are the fastest car. I don't think we were, but we are a bit more reasonably behind. So. Lots of work to be done, and I think this championship anyway will be won by development and upgrades, and for that we need to be on it.
All right, very well done to you. Let's now open this to the floor, please. Who's got our first question?
Oliver Van Brunswick, Raw Sports. A question to all three of you. Lando, in the pen, described the overtake button as creating artificial racing. You all had a good amount of wheel-to-wheel combat. Do you think, or do you like the system, or do you think it was, detrimental to some of the racing action?
It's different. It's definitely different. But I think the interesting thing with these regs is every track we go to, they're not always going to be like this. We're going to Shanghai next, where you've got one big long straight, so the majority of drivers will be using their energy on that one straight. You don't need to divide it up between four like you do here in Melbourne. So everyone's very quick to criticize things. You need to give it a shot. We're 22 drivers. When we've had the best cars and the least tyre degradation, and when we've been happiest, everyone moans the racing's rubbish. Now drivers aren't perfectly happy, and everyone said it was an amazing race. So you can't have it all, and I think we should just give it a chance and see after a few more races.
Kimi, Charles, anything to add?
No, I think in a track like this, the overtake was incredibly powerful, and you could overtake. It created a lot of action, especially in the first few laps of the race. So I think in this kind of track there will be a lot of action. In some other track, maybe a bit less, but I think today was much better than what we all anticipated. So I think, as George said, we need to just wait a few more races before actually commenting on this new regulation.
I kind of agree. I just think that it will definitely change the way we go about racing and overtaking. Before it was more about who is the bravest at braking the latest. Maybe now there's a bit more of a strategic mind behind every move you make, because every boost button activation, you're going to pay the price big time after that, and so you kind of always try and think multiple steps ahead to try and end up eventually first. But it's a different way to go about racing for sure.
Okay, thanks all. Next one.
Michael Butterworth, Xinhua News Agency. George, you mentioned Shanghai briefly just there, and obviously we've had people say that Melbourne, for one or two reasons, is a little bit of an outlier. Are you expecting the likes of Shanghai and Suzuka to be more representative of where you measure up relative to everybody else?
I think it's an outlier in terms of how the battery is deployed across the lap. I don't think it would necessarily change the order that much, to be honest, but it would just change how we go racing and how much variability there is in the deployment.
Okay, next one.
Phil Duncan, PA. To George, just following on from those, the question about Lando and his comments. Obviously, yesterday he said as well, they've gone from the best ever cars to drive to the worst. Is that just sour grapes from him because McLaren aren't where they were and you guys have got a big advantage?
Yeah, well, he's always... Yeah. I don't know. If he was winning, I don't think he'd be saying the same. We weren't happy with how stiff the cars were last year and the porpoising, and everyone had a bad back and drivers were complaining about that. But the McLaren drivers said there was no porpoising, even though we watched their car and they were porpoising. So, everyone's always going looking to themselves, and we're all selfish in this regard. The truth is, last year we had the same engine as them, and McLaren did a better job than us, and they beat us. Now McLaren have got the same engine as us, the same as Williams, and the same as Alpine, and so far we've done a better job than them. So that's just how the game goes.
Next one.
Isabel from 4ZZZ. I have a question for all three of you, which was especially for Kimi. Learning, what did we learn from this weekend, and what can we bring to Shanghai next week, especially it being a sprint race? Have we learned anything about the cars, about you as drivers or as the team?
Well, I think for everyone was a massive learning. For the first time we went racing. We did the first proper weekend. Of course, we did a lot of testing, but testing is one thing, and race weekend is completely different. Shanghai is gonna be important to be straight on point with deployment, with everything, because obviously we got only one practice and then we go into qualifying. But it should be a much more straightforward race in terms of how you deploy the energy. This race was probably the hardest race to start the season because it's just so difficult on energy with so many straights one after the other. So yeah, but I think was massive learning for us driver, for the team, also for the team to understand where to push development of the car, because this year the rate of development is going to be massive, and it's going to be important to not put any wrong step because the situation can flip very quickly.
Learnings?
I mean, many learnings, but as Kimi said, I think looking at Shanghai, I think is going to be super crucial to be straight on top of everything, which will be extremely difficult. I mean, that's what we've tried to do for this weekend, and even coming the race, we were not on top of everything. So to have a sprint race so early on in a season like this will be a huge challenge for everybody. It's going to be very tricky.
I think having experienced the race today and battling, the only thing I would request from the FIA is that with the straight mode, the front wing doesn't drop as aggressively. When we open straight mode, we will have lots of understeer, and when I was behind Charles and I was trying to duck out of his slipstream, it was like my front wing wasn't working. So I think from a safety aspect, that would make the racing safer, better. I don't see a downside of doing it.
Okay, thanks all. Next one.
Stuart Bell, AP. This is to Charles. What were your thoughts of Ferrari not pitting you under the virtual safety car?
I don't regret it. It was a wanted and conscious choice. Looking at from FP1 to now, there's been at every session a car that was stopped, at least one car. We knew that there were very high chances that this was not going to be the only VSC of the race. And so we thought that it was better for us to maybe wait for another one. And that's always a gamble, of course. We didn't know that this will happen. Reality is we've had other VSC after, and one which was particularly well placed. But unfortunately, for this one, for us, the pit entry was closed and we couldn't take it. So we were a little bit unlucky on that side, but it was a conscious choice again, and I don't really regret it.
Okay, thank you. Any more? Any more? No more? We'll leave it there. Very well done, gentlemen. See you next week. Thank you.
All right, everyone. We have the post-race interview, press conference, whatever you want to say it. We have the three drivers, both two Mercedes drivers and one Ferrari. There is George Russell, Antonelli, and Charles Leclerc. George is really happy with the car, with the performance of his car. He is really happy that he had won the race, even though he said that I didn't believe that I can win the race because of some minor issues with the battery that all of the drivers had eventually, and the implementation of the right strategy took him where he was at the end of the race. by winning the race itself. He also explained that the car is different. The running of the car is different. The usage of the car is different. You need to be careful how you implement the your own strategy to the car by driving through the track. And also, he said that you need to make the right decision at the right time, because if you make the wrong decision at the right time, then you're gonna get penalized. If you understood what I said. Yeah, Antonelli at the other hand, he said that I was surprised that I am P2, because from where I came to where I got, it was a miracle for me myself, because of the down shift that he had to go because of the bad start that he had on the beginning. And after that he just uh, by trying a lot, he found the pace of eventually on the race. Charles on the other hand, he said they asked him like, uh, what's the secret behind your pushing everyone and getting in front of everyone? He just confirmed what Russell said, that he also had a minor issue with his battery, but he understood that his situation was a little bit better than the other ones, if you know what I mean. So he had the issue, but not on that level that the other ones had it. So he used that opportunity, and then he got in front of everyone. But that is also, let's say, a bravery by itself, by overtaking everyone on that on that uh, thinner path that he got. And he did his best, and he just proved to everyone that he's a driver to look at. And yeah, uh, also they mentioned about something the that Lando Norris commented over and over on his interview, that the car is not as competitive as it is and things like that. And George Russell just said two words: you cannot judge something by not giving time to prove itself. So yeah, maybe for some drivers it's gonna be worse. Maybe for some drivers it's gonna be the best. But it needs to give. We need. He said that we need to give some time to the new changes to see how it's going to be. And yeah, it's harder to drive this car than the car previously that it was, but it's much more fun to drive this car from the previous car that was, because now you have more opportunity to overtake, more opportunity to go to push on the straights, but you need to know uh, how to implement the right move at the right time, because if you do implement the right move at the wrong time, you get penalized. That's the best thing about this car, and the new regulation that FIA has implemented by building the new bullet for 2026 season. Uh, Antonelli just confirmed whatever George Russell said, and Charles Leclerc just added something plus to that. He said that uh, the overtaking are not going to be uh, and are not going to be based anymore on who breaks the latest and gets the overtake, but now it's gonna be like who gets to use the power at the right moment. So when you use the power of that car at the right moment, you get the overtake, and then you are on a positive side. And that's what he did with George Russell by competing with each other for around 9 laps, something like that. So they were going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, because that's how Formula One should be. That's what we love about this sport. Like we love to see fights between drivers. That's what pumps our adrenaline. I don't know what Lando Norris wants. I think he wants a rocket ship to go on, so only him can win. But that era is over now, and I would suggest to Lando Norris to stop whining and start working, and start learning the car and become and not become, but defend his championship, even though it's going to be really hard for him to do that because I don't think he has the guts to defend his championship. Not anyone can be Max Verstappen or Lewis Hamilton. So that's what I have to say about this interview. Thank you everyone for watching this video with us. Please don't forget to like and subscribe our channel. If you have something to add up, comment down below, and we'll see you in the next one.